Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, and comic books. And no, don't look at your calendar, it's not Tuesday, it is Friday, that's right. We got a little behind this week, and some schedules just didn't mesh up. Now normally we just go ahead and skip and just do a regular Tuesday episode, but there's a couple of things that have happened, or one thing in particular that happened that I've been dying to talk about that I really want to get to. And also, a while back, there was talk about experimenting with doing several shows a week in smaller versions, and I think we might try to experiment a little bit with that now. So on today's show, we're going to do just one subject matter, like we're going to talk strictly Star Wars. So tomorrow, maybe if I get to do a show, which I doubt it, or probably Sunday, we'll do like just Marvel, just DC.
Sunday we can. I'm off on Sunday.
I'm just saying, like, whatever we do it, we're gonna do, a daily show, which would be like 5 days a week. Maybe not the same day, but I'll try to do as many as I can. Keep them to about 15, 20 minutes, talking about one, maybe two subjects. If I have to do it myself, I'll do it myself. Lisa will be here. If we talk Doctor Who, your mom can join in. We'll see what we can do. Pull something off. Do it for a little while. See what you guys think. See if we bring in some more viewers and kind of go from there. So today, as I said, we're talking Star Wars. And I think everyone knows what we're going to talk about. But first, we're going to clear some stuff.
I don't know, maybe everyone doesn't know. Not everybody is the giant Star Wars dorks.
Okay. Oh, yes, and by the way, this is my co-host, Lisa McGahee. Sorry, I forgot to introduce you to this one. I usually go straight to it, but
that's okay.
I went into my rant, is what it is. So, okay, guys. So, before we get to the main event, we're going to talk a couple of small Star Wars subjects. The first one just announces that Star Wars Rebels Season 3 is coming out on August 29th on DVD and Blu-ray. And the thing that people have excited about that is this is going to be the first one, actually, where they're going to have audio commentary with the cast and Dave Filoni as well in some of the episodes. Plus, there's going to be a couple other special features, such as kind of an in-depth special feature about Thrawn and his history, and also about Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. So I'm interested on the special features on that. So that should be pretty interesting.
Well, do you think when they release, after the fourth season is done and they release, because we're gonna buy all of this when
correct
after the fourth season when they release the entire Rebels set, do you think it's gonna be this like all the same special features then, or do you think it's gonna be kind of like how they do where each version has a different set of special features?
I don't know really. I mean, usually when those box sets come out, sometimes they take just all the special features that they did when they released them individually.
Sometimes they add
new ones. Yes, exactly. So, not quite sure exactly what they're going to do on that one. But in any event, I just like, I'm a special features guy. The fact that this has commentary on it, I'm a big commentary guy, so I like that. So that's got me excited. So, just a little small thing. Want to throw that in here. So another mini one, actually, I don't know, Lisa, I don't remember if you saw this. They just released the new trailer for Star Wars Forces of Destiny.
No, I didn't. I saw something about it when I was on my little mini vacay last weekend, but I didn't, get a chance to, watch it or see it. And then I forgot about it by the time I got back home.
Well, they just released just a new one that comes out now. Actually, it's going to premiere on Disney YouTube on Monday. Actually, they're going to show the first episode, and then regular episodes are going to come in the fall. So for those of you who don't know, this is a project combining Disney and Lucasfilm, where they're offering kind of animated shorts, about 2 to 3 minutes each, with different female characters in the Star Wars universe.
Is there going to be like a comic or a book that goes along with it?
Okay. So it'll be available on Disney YouTube ahead of a 2-part TV special featuring 8 additional shorts on Disney Channel in the fall 2017. Now, it's going to be supported by a global product extension such as books, apparel, bedding, toys, including a new line of adventure figures created by Hasbro. With this animated feature as well, you're going to see familiar voices for the characters. Daisy Ridley's coming back as Rey, Felicity Jones as Jin, Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka, and Lupita Nyong'o as Maz is also going to be in it too. So, just different characters. Got Sabine and Hera in it. Different characters throughout the Star Wars universe.
There's going to be a Leia one too, right?
There's a Leia one as well too. I'm curious, I wouldn't say I'm excited about this, because it doesn't seem that, in-depth the story, for me. But I'm excited to sit down with Nora and watch it.
Yeah, that's what I think I'm most excited about these four. This is all these little kids that love Star Wars but don't really know Star Wars. Like, they love it because we love it.
Yeah.
You know, like, she loves Star Wars, but she doesn't really know Star Wars.
But like, she could sit down.
So this is a way for her to do it.
This is, you know, she knows Ahsoka, she knows Rey.
Yeah.
She can introduce more and more to Sabine and Hera and all that stuff. And they're 2 to 3 minute shorts, which is, you know, a child's attention span.
Well, I'm especially excited about this because these are the characters in Star Wars that I love. And up to this point, our daughter loves everything that you love.
What are you talking about?
Oh, what are you talking about? All her favorite things are your favorite things. So I'm excited now for her.
Wait, are you talking about in Star Wars or just in
general? Just in general.
Well, she loves her daddy.
Anyway, she does love her daddy. And so I'm excited, though, that these are some of the parts of Star Wars that I love. These are some of my favorite characters. And I'm excited to be able to introduce her to these strong female characters. So I'm excited for it.
Fair enough. Okay. I guess that's kind of it as far as that. Anything else you want to mention?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, so that appears on Monday, guys, so you can check that out. All right. On to the main event. Okay. So, for those of you who may not know, I don't know what rock you've been living under, but last Tuesday, it was right after we got done announcing done doing the podcast, too, last Tuesday. One of my buddies on Facebook sent me a link, and I had no idea. And it basically said that Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the directors that have been hired to direct the Han Solo standalone film by Lucasfilm, had been fired, which seemed a little odd considering they were hired last year and they were shooting the film for several months and had only 3 weeks left to go in principal photography when they were fired. Of course, this was all according to Hollywood Reporter at first, and now everyone's running with the story. So let's start with just the facts, and then we can go a little bit in the rumor mill. So, Kathleen Kennedy, head of Lucasfilm, fired Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and then several days later hired Ron Howard to finish principal photography as well as finish up the reshoots and basically take this race car all the way to the finish line, so to speak. Since then, Kathleen Kennedy and Phil Lord and Chris Miller have both come out with statements saying, Kathleen Kennedy said, Phil Lord and Chris Miller are talented filmmakers who have assembled an incredible cast and crew, but it's become clear that we had different creative visions on this film and we decided to part ways. And now, and the other side, Phil Lord and Chris Miller said, unfortunately, our visions and process weren't aligned with our partners on the subject. We normally aren't fans of the phase creative differences, but for once this cliche is true. We are really proud of the amazing and world-class work of our cast and crew. The film is still set to come out on May 25th, 2018, which is less than a year away. When Ron Howard was hired on, he had a couple things to say, just saying how he was ecstatic and excited. For those who aren't familiar with Ron Howard, which means you're
also living under a rock.
You're probably under the age of 20, is what it is. He was most known for, of course, on television roles such as Happy Days and the Andy Griffith Show, but has become quite the director with directing films such as Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, Willow, just a couple of great films. His most recent ones were with Chris Hemsworth, where he had Rush, and what's the whale one? I forget. Into the Sea, I think is what it said.
Oh, yeah, that one that was like Moby Dick.
Yeah, that one was very good. So anyway, so we got Ron Howard. So that's basically what the solid evidence is. Now, there's several rumors, of course, going around. We'll talk about in just a sec. But Lisa, what do you think about just this, something like this happening so late in the process?
I don't know. And we've talked about this a little bit. And this kind of, it kind of worries me. Only because, how do you get this far along and then you have creative differences? Yeah,
because there have been directors who, say it was Warner Brothers, they've got, a swinging door of directors coming out of their movies, it seems like.
Right, but it usually happens early on.
Right. Before filming, they start to put stuff together. This was, they were almost done filming.
This is what makes me think it's not so much creative differences. Well, it makes me think it's not so much the story as maybe the interpretation of the story. Because, maybe it's when... Surely the script had been relatively nailed down for a pretty long time. Mm-hmm. So if the script was the problem, then I feel like this issue would have come up earlier. Okay. It seems to me like this is something where the movie's starting to come together and Lucasfilm is like, I don't know, I don't like how you're directing these people, or I don't like the way these performances are being brought out, or this isn't what we were thinking. in terms of like the acting or the way that it's being cut together or something like that. Or maybe they just are changing a lot, but maybe they have tweaked the script a lot without consulting them or something.
So, rumor has it, we're getting some rumors here now, is that Phil Lord and Chris Miller actually were going very much off script, where they were making it so much of a comedy that, the script that Lord and Kasdan had wrote was not being used at all, and people were comparing Alden Ehrenreich's performance, or the way they wanted to perform, to Ace Ventura.
Oh, God.
Yeah, very common. And you got to think, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, look at the films they directed. They've done Lego Movie and 20 Jump Street. Think of that style, and that if you directly take those and put it over to Han Solo, that's not really Han Solo. Now, they were hired then because, they did so well with those films, with directing and stuff like that. I think it was just a matter of, they have, much like a lot of creative people, they have their own style of doing things. They have the way they want to do things, the way they want to make them, and it just didn't align with what Kathleen Kennedy and the people at Lucasfilm wanted this film to be.
It just seems like based on their history and the movies they've made, they would have known that's the style that they have.
I think it was just, it came to a breaking point where, they were trying to, I think they were trying to let it slide. They were trying to get along at some point, and of course, rumors as well was Kathleen Kennedy said, hey, we need to do reshoots, extensive reshoots on this, and, they said no. Back, last year or whenever Rogue One was, remember, Rogue One was supposed to have a completely different ending. The last whole 30 minutes of Rogue One is completely different from what it was supposed to be. They went back to, who directed that film? It was, not Rian Johnson, I forget the guy who directed. Anyway, they went to the director and they said, hey, we need to do extensive reshoots. And he said, okay. So he was willing to play ball, whereas I think it got to the point with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they weren't willing to play. They weren't willing to sacrifice their creative integrity or whatever the hell to do that.
I mean, I get that. Except that in this case, this isn't like where you bring your own script or, it's not like with the Lego Movie or this is part of Star Wars. Like, you don't come into Star Wars and then be like, I get what you're saying, Kathleen Kennedy, who's in charge of everything, but I have a different vision than you, and mine is better.
Okay, and that's kind of the point I wanted to talk about a little bit, where we are getting to a lot of these studios creating their own cinematic universes, so to speak. They all have, like all the Marvel universe, they have, the feel, they have a storyline, they have a through line, and there are multiple directors on each film, but like say with Marvel, it's Kevin Feige who's really in charge. He's the one that's got the vision, he knows how it's all supposed to go, how it's all supposed to be connected. So really, I feel like, for a long time, he's the one, it's almost, I hate to say it, but sometimes it's almost irrelevant who the director is.
Yeah, I agree.
They go through, and these studios go through these, especially, I noticed Marvel do this. Marvel picks up, like, young, rising talent or whatever, and then gets them to do their films, maybe because they won't have enough, power to kind of, get to do what they want to do, or they're willing more, again, to play ball and, just follow what they're supposed to do in that case. With Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I think they're great filmmakers. I love Lego Movie. I love 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. But, again, it's Star Wars. You have to, you can't make it, completely comical. You can't make it, the Lego movies.
I love the Lego movies, but
yeah, but it's not Star Wars. Exactly, and that's kind of what it is.
And if they made a Lego Star Wars movie, sure, bring them on. But this isn't Lego.
Yeah, and nobody's faulting either of them. They both have, their own ways of doing things, but it's just a matter of the fact that it got so far in the process before anybody decided to do anything. So, speaking on that aspect, rumor has it, fact, that they've hired Alden Ehrenreich, who played Han Solo, an acting coach, because they were Lucasfilm was not happy with his performance in the film. Now, most people would think it doesn't have to do with his ability as an actor. It has to do with the fact that for months, Phil Lord and Chris Miller have been telling him to play this character a certain way,
and now
he's got to completely change what he's done in that respect. So that's what I think it is. But some people are saying, "Oh, he sucks as an actor." I'm like, give me a freaking break here, okay? And then there is also the rumor going around that Aaron Reich himself was the first one to go up to Kathleen Kennedy and say, "Hey, this doesn't feel right." That's kind of what it is. So. With that, I was talking, I think Clara Jedi Council really did a great job on this. Kind of going through all the aspects of this story last week. If you guys want to go listen to them. And they were still talking about this week, too. Took up a majority of their show, again, covering this story. So 2 weeks in a row. But one thing, in regards to Aaron Reich was, I think if, the rumors are true, he's a guy who realizes he is the face of this movie.
Yeah.
If this movie sucks, people are gonna blame him. Is really what it's all about, and the fact that he's still an upcoming rising actor.
Yeah.
A movie like this could ruin his exactly.
Yeah.
He needs it. So that's probably why, again, rumor wise, he said, "Hey, let's fix this because it doesn't feel right." So if that's the case, I totally give him kudos for it. It's nothing. When I heard the story, it's not an aspect I thought of until I listened to Collider and heard it from them first. So
cool. Yeah, I think that's true.
All right. So big question. Extensive reshoots, of course, are on their way now. Ron Howard actually tweeted yesterday from the first day of his day of filming. On the film, he shot like a water bottle or something like that, saying like, "This is the only thing I'm allowed to show you for my first day on set." Is what it was. But is there any worry now that this film will not come out in May? Will they push it back to December? Because you got to think, okay. Imagine, okay, let's use that comparison again. We're talking Ace Ventura style film, okay? How can you take pieces of an Ace Ventura movie and cut them together enough to where it's going to resemble something of a Star Wars tone to it, you might as well scrap it all and start fresh, is what people are saying.
And if that's the case, you got to think about it, though. It's only not even July yet. They still have, it's almost a year. But
but a lot of that time is adding the effects.
Yeah,
the effects take a lot of time.
I know that. I'm just saying, I think they still have enough time, even with extensive reshoots, to get it out in May. And I think they're going to get it out in May. I think they're going to make sure. And
a lot of people are saying, too, I think like the D23 and Comic-Con coming up next month, only in a few weeks. People were expecting Lucasfilm to bring Han Solo, and I think they all know the shift is going to be back to The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
They're like, people are talking like they're going to bring a new Last Jedi trailer and showcase all that to try to make people forget about Han Solo.
Yeah.
Some people think they might even they won't even mention Han Solo at all. I think they're going to mention it just to talk about it. But as far as calming, getting all this, settled, and again, Ron Howard has been hired to carry this to the end. Do you think he's the right guy for the job? Because some people have questioned it just because of the fact that he's more, I want to say, not really, I guess you could use the derogatory term studio lapdog, or, the fact that a lot of his more recent films haven't been as big a hits as his older films.
I think it'll be fine. I think it's like you said. I think these are the kind of movies where it doesn't really matter who the director is, because Lucasfilm has such a specific idea of what they want. I think almost, I think the animated almost has a more chance of the directors having a little more power, because the people who do the animated ones are so in, Pablo Hidalgo, Dave Filoni, those people. They're so a part of the Lucas story group. I feel like they, as directors, have a little more say in what happens, where the directors of the films, they come in from the outside.
I think again, people are talking to, it's going to be more of a committee movie where you're going to have Lawrence Kasdan there more, you're going to have Kathleen Kennedy there more, and there, again, you have your writer, you have your producer, and I think...
So, I think in that sense, I think Ron Howard will be fine, because I think he does a very good job at getting performances out of people, and in this case, that's what they need the director for. They don't need the director, really, in terms of...
Style.
The style or the story. They need someone who can get the good things out of the good performances out of the actors, and I think he's going to be fine at that.
I agree with that, definitely. There was something else I was going to talk about with this, but I can't remember what it was. But I think we covered just about everything. Anything else you want to add to this story here? I mean, it was pretty crazy. It's been developing for over a week now, and it's like an onion. Every day there was like a new layer to it. I'm sure there's going to be more to come out even as it goes on, too. But as of right now, I mean, people are talking as well, the fact that this is, they talked about the issues with Rogue One. Now they're talking about the issues with Han Solo. Some are saying, is there a problem over at Lucasfilm and the way the Star Wars films are being made or being run? I don't think so, just because of the track record. Right now we got The Force Awakens and Rogue One. Both made money. Both were well received by the majority of the audiences. So again, we judging on the track record.
I think this was just a kind of a fluke mistake.
It was a mistake. It's one of the things they hired that up and coming famous director to get the credit because they're good at they're good at what they do, but what they do just didn't match up with what Lucasfilm wanted, and it's the main story is just the fact that it went on for so long is really what happened. So. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that is it for us today. Let us know what you thought. What do you think about this whole Han Solo mess? Do you think the film's still going to come out on time? Be sure to check out Forces of Destiny. Like I said, it comes out on Monday on the Disney YouTube channel. And then, of course, be sure to pick up Star Wars Rebels Season 3 Blu-ray when that comes out. If you haven't already watched the season, it's a good time to binge.
Yeah, go back. Season 1, 2, 3, go. Do it. You won't regret it.
Go. All right.
Go.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for today. Until next time, may the Force be with us all.